Hey guys, how's it going? So today, a federal judge just made a decision that's a huge win for us against the federal government and the ATF regarding their so-called ghost gun ban. This was a rule against frames and receivers and basically your ability to make your own gun. Also, there was a huge recent victory, again, out of the 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. And also, for all of my Michigan friends, hang around till the end because I'm going to tie what's going on right here in these courts with all this craziness and some strategy going on here in Michigan. So this is from the Second Amendment Foundation's website. It's a press release that was put out just this evening, and I was happy to read this and wanted to share it with all of you. So this is dated March 3rd, 2023. A federal judge in Texas has granted a preliminary injunction against the federal government's enforcement of the final rule regarding partially manufactured firearms, parts, and kits in a case known as Vanderstock v. Garland, which challenged the authority of the Justice Department and the ATF to regulate items that are not firearms, as if they were firearms. A preliminary injunction. This is something a judge can order either before a case or while the case is ongoing, and basically what it does is it takes it back to the status quo, like it was before in this case, the ruling, while it gives them time to continue to litigate and finish the case. So that's what preliminary injunction generally means. I'm not a lawyer, but this is good news. So we have a quote here from Alan Gottlieb, the founder and executive vice president of the Second Amendment Foundation. He said, "This is a huge victory. He was allowed to intervene in the case last summer along with Defense Distributed, a Texas-based company. The court's preliminary determination is pretty straightforward, and it notes that SAF and Defense Distributed are likely to succeed on the merits of their case against the receiver rule." So not only does this procedure put that rule on hold for this case and the defendants, which I'll read in just a second, but you heard what he just said. The judge agrees they're likely to succeed on the actual merits, meaning they're likely to win this in the long run. The decision was issued by Reed O'Connor for the U.S. District Court of the Northern District of Texas, Fort Worth Division. His preliminary injunction applies to Defense Distributed and its clients. "We are pleased with the court's rulings, which correctly finds we are likely to succeed on our claims," said Adam Kraut, SAF's executive director. Judge O'Connor agrees that the ATF's final rule expanded the agency's authority over parts that may be, quote, readily converted into frames or receivers, which surpasses the authority granted by Congress. Even more compelling is that the judge agrees that ATF's rule unlawfully treats parts kits as firearms. It's refreshing to see rogue administrative agencies being reined in by the checks and balances of our system of government. This is referencing last August, ATF promulgated its final rule purporting to regulate partially manufactured firearm parts and parts kits, departing from almost 45 years of precedent, during which the agency declined to interpret the term firearms as noted in the Gun Control Act of 1968 to apply to partially manufactured frames and receivers. The government flip-flopped again in December, asserting that certain products are considered frames and therefore firearms. Subsequently, a lawsuit was filed challenging the legality of the final rule on the grounds that the regulation exceeds the scope of ATF statutory authority. That's where we're at right now. And the last line simply reads, "The injunction takes effect immediately." So that's awesome news. We should be happy about this. Now, the 5th Circuit, U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. This is concerning the Bumpstock ban case. And I did a video regarding that probably about 2 months ago, this January, talking how the 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals says that bump stocks are not machine guns, and it actually smacked down the federal government on a lot more than that. So that was a huge victory. However, it didn't technically change the law at that time. However, they've just recently, within the last week, ordered the lower district court that they have to basically throw out their previous hearing and rule according to the 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. I don't know if bump stocks are legal in the 5th Circuit right this minute, but in my opinion, not a lawyer, not legal advice, they will be very soon in the 5th U.S. Circuit, while still being illegal, criminalized in the rest of the United States. This creates a huge problem for the law of the land, where you could have some states that a product's legal, other states a product's not legal, which makes this Bumpstock case extremely likely to now head to the Supreme Court. We know this Bumpstock ban was completely unconstitutional. It's a piece of plastic. And the ATF getting by with that has made them emboldened and embrazen to go after things like frames and receivers. Well, the frames and receivers case isn't over yet. However, right now it's looking good. It's looking even better for Bumpstocks. This stuff gets smacked down, inevitably we're going to think of the pistol braces, which there's tons of litigation pending with that right now. Here's the good news. I don't like to be overly optimistic, but on its face, there's good news going on right now of federal courts throughout these United States smacking down these arbitrary and totally unlawful interpretations by the federal government and the ATF. We've also seen recent state gun control laws getting smacked down by the Supreme Court and lower courts throughout the federal court system. Here's where I'm going to tie this into Michigan. For all of you that are in Michigan and are concerned about what's going on with like the over 24 gun control bills that are pending and quickly processing through the Michigan House and Senate, make sure you go back and check all my recent videos. I've been covering it, I think, more than anybody. I've been in Lansing a bunch of times. Now, my most recent video, which is yesterday, I went to Lansing and I did a video with my state representative Thompson and my Senator Bellino. Make sure you guys go watch that video and listen carefully, where we're talking about if a law does pass. Now, you all need to keep writing and calling all of your Michigan reps to make sure this doesn't pass. But if it were to, we need to make sure it does not take immediate effect. And Senator Bellino explains that in that video. So go back and watch that. Share that with your friends in conjunction with this video to give people some good news that this is still worth fighting for. If we can prevent these Michigan gun control laws from passing, awesome. If they somehow do pass, but we can keep them from having immediate effect, you see what litigation does. We're winning on a lot of things in the courts right now, so if we can keep these from passing with immediate effect in Michigan, it gives the gun rights groups and these different organizations time to litigate and get this into the court system, which in my opinion should rule favorably and smack down some of these proposed Michigan gun control bills if or when they become law. Alright guys, thanks for watching and have a good one.